President Trump set to meet with the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong Un, and do so by the month of May. Fox News foreign policy analyst Kiron Skinner joins us now. And the big question has been, is this the most shrewd move we've ever seen or the most naive? Where do you sit on the debate that everybody seems to be having, Kiron?
I actually think it's a very shrewd move, but it's one that is deliberate. It seems as if it just happened by chance, the way the president sometimes behaves. But when you look at 2017, from the very first week of his presidency, Donald Trump was outlining a strategy for North Korea that was unconventional, that jettisoned, 27 years of failed negotiations and engagement with the North Korean government, and really 70 years of isolation of that regime. And so when the building blocks were put in place for what actually happened.
The pressure,
and that's what
the pressure that the administration was putting on them.
The strategy of maximum pressure, but also the unusual diplomatic offensive, the trilateral diplomacy among the United States, the Japanese, and the South Koreans has been exceptional this past year and continues, and even allowing and encouraging the South Koreans to exert leadership, having the confidence that they will stay within the trilateral camp in dealing with North Korea, while trying to calm the nerves of the Japanese, who remain skittish, then putting a lot of pressure on China to stay with the sanctions regime, and also bringing along the rest of the world through a set of UN Security Council resolutions that have put extremely difficult sanctions on all aspects of the North Korean economy. I think when you look at that body of work, it's no surprise that the North Korean leader is ready to meet with the American president.
Speaking of the UN, Fox News has been told H.R. McMaster will be in New York on Monday to meet with members of the Security Council in a closed-door meeting. So that's part of the back channels or the preparation for this meeting, maybe that you're referring to. It did seem, though, that the president caught a lot of people off guard last night in the way it was announced, maybe even up to and including his Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. So what'd you make of that, the way that that would lead people into the argument and say, it's a little bit haphazard, but you seem to think it was well planned out?
I think it's part of the President Donald Trump strategic surprise approach. And but again, it's not inconsistent with what he has said he would do, because all along he has said that he was willing to meet with and negotiate with the North Korean leadership.
Right.
But it had to be on terms that were favorable to the whole international system. And indeed, that's what's going to happen. The message that has come through the National Security Advisor from South Korea is that Kim Jong Un is prepared to meet with really no preconditions, but a commitment to denuclearization, a commitment to no nuclear and missile testing, and a number of other things, including, surprisingly for many, the commitment to standing by while the U.S. and South Korean have their defensive military exercises later this spring.
Well, that's all that is, the military exercises or the testing, all that I thought, well, okay, that's interesting. But the talk of denuclearization, I think, caught a lot of people off guard, because every conversation, story, whatever you want to call it, that we've had about Kim Jong Un since he took over in that country has been that he would never go for that he's looked at Iraq, he's looked at other examples like Libya, and he sees what giving up your nukes can do, and he's never going down that road. So do you really believe that maybe something's changed?
It's too early to tell, but he does care about regime survival. He may look at it through the Libya lens, but he may also look at it through the reality of that if he doesn't change course, given the power of the sanctions and the isolation in the international system that he's facing, his regime probably won't last.
Yep, survival. Well, you're right. That's probably the big goal. Boy, this will be fascinating to watch. Thank you, Kiron. Good to see you. Thanks for the analysis.